Hello everyone, my name is Steve Adolf and welcome to another practical video from the dining room table. Today we'll talk about the backlog and solution ownership roles in the rock crusher. So in the rock crusher we said it takes a village to own a product. This is because our assertion is that the demands on what we've traditionally called the product owner are so great that it is an impossible job to do. As one author put it, only superhumans need to apply. In the rock crusher, we broke the traditional product owner role down into 7 different constituent roles. 2 roles that I'd like to focus on is the 2 accountable roles, because we have both a backlog owner who owns the backlog and also a solution owner who owns the solution. And both are accountable for value delivery. How does that work? So before we go any further, just my usual disclaimer, these videos represent my personal opinions and perspectives and not necessarily that of my employer. So one of the things we want to really establish up front first is that roles do not represent or necessarily represent individuals. A metaphor I love to give, or an example I love always to give, one of my favorite movies is Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove. In it, the actor Peter Sellers played 3 distinct roles. So you had 1 individual and 3 roles. And that is the way I'd like to look at the village here. These are roles that people play. An individual may play more than 1 role. And you can imagine, as for a very small team, maybe 1 or 2 people are playing all of the roles to own the backlog. On the other hand, on a very large team, a couple of 100 people, you can imagine dozens of people may in fact be playing these roles. That said, always there is only 1 backlog owner. Now, why is that? Well, we're separating backlog ownership from solution ownership, right? The backlog owner is responsible for everything that's in the backlog. In other words, as we define them, they have final say on the sequencing, prioritizing of work for the team, right? They have overall responsibility for the value that is created by that team, or they're accountable that the team is always working on the most valuable items. From that point of view, that definition seems to match fairly closely to what we would think of as a traditional product owner. However, we split that role into also a solution owner. There is a solution owner, and this is we consider to be a more customer-facing role that is accountable for the features that make it into the solution, but does not have final say on the prioritization of work for the overall individual team. Now, the reason we came up or decided that we need to split the ownership roles is because time and time again, we observed in organizations where the individual nominated as the product owner was not really playing the role of the product owner. They were only interested or could work with the team on a subset of the work that was in their backlog. And the rest of the remaining work, the team was left to its own devices to figure out what were the right priorities to be working on. So there was almost like an ad hoc prioritization. There was also this lack of connection to the product management organization or to what the organizational priorities were, because that product owner was not fulfilling their full role. So this is why we made it explicit that there's a backlog owner who owns all the work in the backlog and a solution owner. And there also may be multiple solution owners as well, whereas there's always only 1 backlog owner. Now, when we say there could be potentially multiple solution owners, you might say, well, doesn't that potentially lead to conflict? Yes, but the difference is we're trying to make that conflict explicit. Right now, in many, many situations, you do have teams where there are multiple solution owners no one to arbitrate what the priorities in the backlog are, but you have competing solution owners bringing their work to the team and leaving it to the team's own devices to arbitrate what work is their priority. And what we would at least like to be able to do is make these conflicts explicit. And so here we have a situation, we have a couple of different solution owners. This is a situation that you may see frequently, for example, in a project-oriented organization where you have multiple project managers who are bringing their projects to a team. Now we place at least the backlog owner into the role of an arbiter to determine between the different feature requests that are being brought to them by the solution owners, which creates the most value for the organization. Because of course this solution owner here will believe that their solution is most important in the world. This solution owner will believe their solution is the most important in the world, and the backlog owner here now is accountable for arbitrating and determining which of these solutions should be first, which of these solutions should even be given to the team or entered into the backlog. One of the problems that we're trying to solve by making this explicit and not letting the team arbitrate on their own is this was a lament from a team that I was working with. These were individuals on a single Scrum team who were unable to get things done because quite simply as a team they could not swarm or collaborate together on the solution they were delivering because they were getting different priorities from different individuals. As one said, their priorities are not my priorities. They're referring to other members of the same team. Now, how do you make a team work and coordinate if they are operating to different priorities? So this is one of the reasons that we have the backlog owner owning the entire backlog, and we have the various solution owners. Now, of course, we said these are roles. The backlog owner may also be playing the role of the solution owner as well. They may be in the same individual. But again, we're trying to make it explicit that there is different interests and those interests may conflict, and we're trying to make those conflicts explicit. Of course, having those conversations and having those conflicts can lead to some very tough but necessary conversations. For example, we have here a solution owner whose feature is not going to be implemented. The backlog owner has decided that that feature will not contribute value, or there are other features that are far more valuable. Once again, these are the tough decisions that we have to make, and this is what the rock crusher is trying to capture, is that as an enterprise, as a team, we can't do everything. That's why we have a wastegate on the rock crusher, is that we are going to have to explicitly manage and actively manage the value of the backlog such that the team is working on the right things. We have a backlog owner such that there is someone who is taking accountability for that process of prioritizing the right work and not leaving it to the ad hoc decisions of a team that are being, let's call it for what it is, bullied by a group of solution owners. So this is the Rock Crusher Canvas, and this is a tool for designing or reasoning about your backlog. Rather than just treating the backlog as something that's given to you, the Rock Crusher Canvas helps you explicitly design your backlog and understand who are the people that we have to work with, who has to work together to make this backlog happen, who are members of the village. And of course, we have the backlog owner and we have the solution owner. You can get the Rock Crusher Canvas by visiting rockcrusher.org. And so to learn more, you can visit rockcrusher.org. You can buy our book as well, or visit, of course, the IIBA website. My name is Steve Adolf, and thank you.